everybody, and welcome to the High Performance Garden Show. We are in week 32, so there's only one more week before we end this garden, so it's gone so fast. We've come a long way this season and eaten a lot of amazing food, and I've never struggled once in this garden. And I would say we had a very successful season. So how do you tell if you've had a successful garden season? If you find yourself saying things like, well, next year I'm going to do this, or I'm going to build another bed so I can try this plant and this plant, or I want to show so-and-so how to do this because you were pleased with your results and want to share. These are all signs that you had a good season. So are you saying things like this about your garden? If not, we need to change up your system so next year you can have a successful season. So think a little bit about your dialogue and what you're saying about your garden and how you're feeling about it now that you're late into the season. And let's start thinking about next year. Okay, so this garden, we're going to go ahead and start harvesting. I want to show you something first. During the week, we had this cluster of tomatoes break off of the big plant in the back. And what I neglected to do was to put a clip far enough down to support this cluster. So I could have clipped actually to the fruit cluster here, or I could have clipped back in here to support this. So I did lose some tomatoes, but we can take these and we can make fried green tomatoes out of them. Or we can actually pickle these and eat these as pickles. So I'm going to go ahead and keep these and turn them into something very, very delicious. So that's going to go in our harvest basket today, because green tomatoes are good too. And we just happen to get an abundance of them today. And let's go ahead and get some of the red ones. Everything is cold. We've been hitting the 30s every single night this week. So I think we are right on target with finishing the garden. This right here is where the plant broke off, right here at the top. And I could have hooked it to the easy trellis up there or just extended the string, but down it came, landed on my turnips. But that's all right. Turnips are tough, they can take it. Okay. There's really nothing that we need to do for the tomatoes. We're just going to let what tomatoes will ripen this week ripen, and then we'll go ahead and harvest the green ones too. And we can, like I say, we can pickle them, we can fry them, or we can let them ripen on the countertop. They won't taste as good as vine ripened, but they still will be a garden tomato. So there's our tomato harvest for today. Just set that down and we'll move along. Turnips. Need more turnips in our life. We ate last week's turnips, so we're going to get some more here. These things are beauties. And they grow so well in the cold. It's just one of the things I like about them. Let's see. A few more. One there. Oh, let's get that guy. Okay, there's a nice bundle of turnips. We'll eat the bottoms and we'll eat the tops. I like to cook them separate. If you cook them together, you want to take the bulb, slice it up, fry it till it gets tender, and then add the greens. Because if you put it all in at the same time, the greens turn into mush. So you want to separate that while you cook it. Okay, turnips. There's nothing we need to do for them. Next week we'll come and we'll harvest the turnips, and I'll show you how to prepare them for the root cellar so that you can eat them further on into the season. Okay, cucumbers. We're moving quickly today because there's not a whole lot to do. Wow, there's a nice one. They're still putting out. It's awesome. I can tell that they don't like the cold though. Their color is getting funny, the vines. We're getting kind of a yellowish tinge to this, and they're just, they're hanging on for dear life. They know these 30-degree nights are not very conducive to making cucumbers. this one. Okay, looks like we got 3. 3 is good. Oop, let's get that guy. He's growing a little strange. He's a little thin up here, but he's full grown at the bottom, so I think it's time for him to come off. Okay, 4 cucumbers for today, some turnips, and we're going to move on down to the zucchinis. There's really nothing we need to do for the cucumbers. They are just going to hang on, hopefully till next week. If we get a frost warning, I will cover them. It's been really close. We haven't had to cover yet. Okay, some zucchinis. Now if you get an overabundance of zucchinis, you don't want to make noodles, you're tired of making zucchini bread, just take these things and quarter them lengthwise and then cut them into coins, and then you can blanch them really quickly in boiling water and then drain the water off, put them in cold water, and then you can actually freeze these. Just put the zucchini in freezer bags, and that way you can have zucchini all winter long if you have enough zucchini. But today it looks like we do. We are on a roll. There's 3. Oh, some here in the back. So I might go ahead and get some zucchini put up in the freezer this week. What else we got here? Around the corner. Looking for zucchinis. All I see is butternut squash. Coming back. Take that guy. Okay, still on the lookout for squash bugs. Like I say, haven't seen any in months, haven't seen any eggs in months. I think we're in pretty good shape. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, zucchini's done. We're going to go ahead and move on down to the broccoli. Okay, here we are in the broccoli. This stuff is tremendous. It's still just kicking out. Little, I call them brockets, but I think they're called florets. We have stopped spraying the BT. We are 1 week away from the end of this garden, and there's nothing that's going to hatch and eat these plants between now and then. And I haven't seen a lot of the butterflies lately, so I think their cycle is about over anyhow. Still watching for aphids. If I see any, I'll squish them. But we're looking really clean, which is really nice. Okay, here's our broccoli for the week. That's enough to make a meal, so that's awesome. Nothing else we really need to do for the broccoli plants. Like I say, we're coming into the home stretch here. We are about finished for the season. You don't have to take your garden out at any particular time. I'm taking this one out on schedule so that I can show you how to put the garden to bed. So we're using this as an education garden, not necessarily my home garden. But you can pull it out anytime you want, or you can pull it out in sections. Let's say you take the zucchini out, but you want to keep the kale. The kale would probably go for another 4 weeks, 6 weeks beyond the zucchini, things like that. So you can do it any way you want to. We're just going to do it all at once, though, just for filming purposes. So the kale's looking good today. Still watching for aphids, especially if you were wanting to keep it on. You need to keep track of aphids when it gets cold. But this is looking really good. If you get the aphids, like I say, some safer soap, some pyrethrum in it, usually takes care of them. All right, here's our kale for the week. There's about a half a pound there. That's great. That will make a wonderful dinner. Okay, next we have our Joy Choy, and it's looking pretty good. In this garden, the plants that you could leave later that would take a frost would be the broccoli, the kale, the Joy Choy, the Swiss chard, the lettuce, Carrots can take a frost, and the turnips. The turnips can take quite a frost. But I've had broccoli that's gone down to probably 15 degrees and still has been pickable. Now, part of what makes that broccoli able to withstand that much frost is the high nutrient density. So the higher the nutrient density in the plant, the more like antifreeze it has in its veins, for a good analogy. The more syrups and sugars and stuff it has in there, the less freezing it's going to do. I've even been able to take tomatoes down to about 28 degrees when that nutrient density is really high, and we get that by mineralizing the soils. So your garden has a way better chance of taking a frost than one that is low in nutrients. So anyhow, there's your bonus for the day. Discussions on nutrient density. All right, let's get our Joy Choy. Okay, here's our Joy Choy. It is definitely slowing down, but that'll make a couple good breakfasts. Very typical for it to slow down as the nights are getting colder and the day length is getting a lot shorter. So when we're growing in the greenhouses, our winter production is about 1/4 of what a bed would produce in the summertime. So you got to kind of take that into consideration as you're growing into the fall. But still, something green, something delicious. We just say thank you and move on. Okay, next is our Swiss chard. And we have a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and get some. Probably enough for about a meal. And same story, you know, it slows down this time of year. My gardens, well, we grow year-round, even in Colorado, and mostly without heaters. We have some solar heaters. And so a plant that I would normally pick twice a week in the summertime, sometimes I only pick it every 3 weeks in the wintertime. So it does make a significant difference, and that's what we're seeing in these guys. But it's to be expected. And I'm just happy to have anything. So be thankful for what we do get. Okay, here's our Swiss chard for the week. So there's enough for a meal, so that'll be delicious. And we'll set that back there. And I went ahead and plucked me a squash. It was laying down here in the aisle. Now, because I'm going to eat this one right away, I went ahead and broke the top off. But if we're going to store this, I need to get the pruners and cut it. But this isn't going to last long enough to rot. So that's part of our dinners this week. Thing's heavy. That'll be delicious. Been hungry for that. Okay, next is lettuce. And I'm not going to pick from anything that's towering and seedy, but I will pick all these lower ones. And we got a pretty good haul today, looks like. Gonna get some good lettuce. I am not seeing the aphids, so I think we got them cleaned up pretty good. Okay, here's our lettuce for the week. There's about 3/4 pound, which is just right. Lettuce. Okay, and we did get a handful of weeds today. And think back through all 32 weeks that we've done in this garden. How many handfuls of weeds have I actually had coming right out of these beds? When you can control this, it doesn't control you. This is one of the things that makes this garden so much fun, is we're not really weeding. So, you know, get in there, snag a few, and have a really good season. Okay, we are going to take a look at our seeds here. These are just about to bloom. I'm actually gonna keep this pot of firecracker seeds because I want to go ahead and let this finish blooming, see if we can get a few extra seeds this year. And then we have our carrots back there, and we're going to harvest them next week. And then we'll pull all the carrots next week. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at our harvest, and then we'll be back, show you what we picked, and then we're going to talk about successful gardens. So got a few more tips and secrets for you coming up. Okay, see you in a few. Okay, so here's our harvest for today. For our kale, we had 0.41 pounds. Our Swiss chard, there was 0.27 pounds. The broccoli, there was 0.35 pounds. The zucchini, we had 6.5 pounds, so I'm going to get some of that in the freezer. The lettuce, there was 0.65 pounds. The cucumbers, 4.2 pounds. And the Joy Choy, there was 0.3 pounds. The tomatoes, there was 4.7 pounds. The turnips, there was 0.51 pounds. The turnip greens, because I cut them separate, there was 0.35 pounds. And that butternut squash, that thing was 5 pounds, so that's awesome. So our total this week was $68.49 worth of savings. And our year-to-date savings so far is $2,649.60, which is actually a new record for this garden. And our goal to reach our $2,990, which is 10 times the cost of the course, we have $340.40 to go, and we got 1 week to do that in. It's going to be interesting next week. You want to be sure and tune in. We have some nice butternut squash and a couple other things coming out of the garden, and we'll just see if we make it. So anyways, so the garden gives us more than just great food. The 30-second gift my garden gives me is success. Because I have learned a system, gotten my garden education, the garden is a pleasure and an economic boost for our family, and it helps us to be more healthy. So I feel successful and proud of what I can give to my family, and now my garden is also one of my best sources of happiness. So what are the 5 steps to a successful garden? Okay, so number 1, a successful garden starts with a dream or a desire to have a great garden. So what are the images that you have in your head? Do you drool over the seed catalogs? Do you imagine harvesting beautiful baskets of vegetables in your backyard? Can you imagine a beautiful garden just outside your window or on your patio? And do you want an easy, fun, productive, and always organic garden? So do you have the dream? Do you have the desire? So the next step is to get a system. Find someone who has a garden of your dreams and mimic them. Follow in their footsteps. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to know what they know and get educated in their system. Let's say you're going to bake a cake. You wouldn't just throw in random ingredients in a pan and bake at a random temperature for an undefined amount of time. That would be a pretty bad cake, wouldn't it? To make a great cake, you would follow a recipe and have a plan from start to finish. Well, gardening's the same way. Get a system and get an education so you can create a successful plan so you set yourself up for success even before you plant a single seed. Step 3 is planning and building. So once you've selected your system that you're going to follow, you can create your plan. This plan will include when to start, what size the garden is, what to grow, and how many of each plant to grow, and your care and maintenance schedule for the season. Also included in this plan will be your supply list and your plant and seed list, and where and how to build the garden so you're ready when the time is right. Also, how to create the soil that your plants will thrive in and not just whatever is around. The right soil is 90% of the battle. And when you have the right soil and a great plan, you are setting yourself up for success. Just like the cake recipe ensures you a great dessert, most people falter at the planning and preparation stage, and their garden season is a disaster before it ever starts. So let's bake a great cake, let's make a great garden. The 4th step is planting. We don't put a seed in the ground until we have the plan for the season in place. The plan is a roadmap to your success. Your education will teach you how to take care of each plant and fulfill its needs so it can live up to its fullest genetic potential. And the last step is dedication. If you will dedicate a portion of each day to your garden or get a garden sitter when you are not around, your garden will thrive. When you are in your garden for even a few minutes a day, you will become very observant as to what is normal. And when something goes awry, you can get it back on track quickly before it becomes a huge problem. If you are enrolled in our system, you have me to help you solve your garden problems during the season. So you are not alone. I'm here to help you to have a successful garden season. So if you can do these 5 things, you are so far ahead of the gardener that just throws some seeds in the ground and hopes. So when can you start your garden? So I want you to go to the What Can We Plant Today chart on this website and see when you can start your garden. In zones 8 through 10, you can grow year-round, so you can start today. In zones 6 through 7, you'll start somewhere in February or March. And in zones 4 and 5, you can start usually in April. And in zones 1 through 3, you can start in May. For us, we are going to start our garden up again in 21 weeks. 21 weeks from this week, this garden gets fired up again. But I'm going to start my planning today. Right now is the time for me to make notes on this garden while the thoughts are fresh in my head. So I want to write down the things that I'm observing, maybe different locations that I want to put things in. Now's the time to get those notes on paper. I'm also going to dream about next year and what I want to grow and what I want to change and what new plants I want to try and anything that I want to do different. So I'll start my plan by getting a new education on the new plants I want to try. Even at this level, 30 years into the garden, there's always new stuff I want to try. And I will build new beds so I can expand. I got an idea for a new outdoor bed, outdoor garden. And then I will order my seeds and get ready. So I want to have all this prep work done before I hit the 21 weeks from now. So do you have a dream garden in mind? Now is the best time to start. I invite you to enroll in our garden system. You've seen this garden in action over the last 32 weeks, and the results have been phenomenal. You've seen everything that I've done, and there's nothing here that I've done that you can't do. I don't even break a sweat growing this garden. The only difference between me and you is a garden education. So now's your time to get your education so you have time to learn, plan, and build before the planting date arrives. So what do you say? Is next year going to be your year to have the most successful garden you've ever had? If so, click on the Abundance Garden link and get your garden started today. Get your planning, get your education, let's get going. So our holiday sale is started, and I want to thank those of you who have sent in your orders. My staff, my flock, and my family appreciate every single order. For those of you who have not ordered yet, there is still time. Each item sold helps us support the new staff members, the sheep flock, and this garden show. If everyone will order one item, this makes a huge difference to us. And there are some great items for you to order. There's the felted slippers, the mittens, the scarves, the dog beds, the cat beds, and there's more to come. And they're made right here by our staff, and the fleeces donated by our sheep flock. So check out the sale and see what you would like to have from our farm, and get yourself a piece of the living farm. I want you to stay tuned for the announcements on next year's garden show. While you wait, make sure to check your email box for emails from us. I want your help in making sure that the next garden show addresses the questions that you have and the vegetables you want to grow. So if you're not already signed up for the garden show newsletter, email me at info@thelivingfarm.org to be signed into the list so we can get your feedback on what you want to see next year. Well, next week is our final week for this garden. Will we make our goal of $2,990 or will we fall short? I think we're going to win either way. What do you think? So tune in next week to find out. Until next time, may your garden be easy, fun, productive, and always organic.